Well, good day or good night, whatever it is to you. It's nighttime here. So there's this interesting guy, Dan Blitzerin, uh, Blitzerin. Seems like a good guy, just like Thomas Massey and all of them. But here, let's see.
I really like George Galloway's way of putting this. He said two cheats are the same ass. They're both clapping together. And it's true, man. It's not a left-right problem. Now, the district you're running in, it's not. There's not really that many.
Yeah, just like when I went to Jimmy Dore in 2024 in Denver when he appeared and he hasn't been back yet. Wonder why. Um, you know, the main problem with your leaders is they literally get hijacked mentally and spiritually. And I've been through all that and I've turned out all right. Although people pretend, like my whole fucking life, like I've talked about, people rape me with their children and then get upset when I talk about it into my adulthood, and do a bunch of other inappropriate things to me. And I turned out very well. And I experienced the do's and the hijacking attempts. And this is where all these big burly dudes are going to fail like little bitches. And you're going to be disappointed and fail over and over and over and over and over and keep failing until you fucking learn this aspect of it. You need people that are resistant and immune to these hijacks. And until you find them, they're going to twist this dude around. They're going to twist Thomas Massey around, even though he seems to, hold his own. When they get in a, position of major influence, they do these spiritual things and electronic, artificial spiritual things. Um, so, I have a good America First plan, but I got totally ignored by Jimmy Dore, right? And you're going to pick these guys that are big burly. I could do 15 sit ups or push ups or pull ups or whatever the fuck. Um, but they have family that could be targeted and fucked with to get them in line, and a thousand, more than a thousand other ways to fuck with them. So you need to have people that are, resistant and immune, and or immune to these very secretive. They're almost like recruitment attempts, but they're hijacking, and then they would consider that recruiting, right? So, I mean, you're just going to keep failing, keep failing, keep failing, keep failing, keep failing until you guys learn that this is a spiritual warfare, and there's a bunch of demons. You're living in a demon haunted world. And there's a bunch of unforeseen forces that are fucking with your leaders. And like parasites, they attach themselves to them. And there's electronic warfare shit that they could apply to these people, as well as spiritual magical shit that they could apply to these people. So, anyway, the guy seems all right, but you just totally, oblivious to the shit like Alex Jones was talking about in 2024 before Jimmy Dore came to Denver, or maybe it was late 2023. Alex Jones did an interview with Jimmy Dore, or Jimmy Dore had him on to do an interview. And he was talking about, the interdimensional beings and everything. And if you don't know what you're fucking dealing with, you think it's just, oh, these people are just sellouts and blah, blah, blah. No, they get hijacked. Literally get hijacked. The new Star Trek remake, the first one? And they had, Captain Pike? The Romulans took Captain Pike and they put that little bug in his mouth to give them the Federation codes. That's a mild version of the hijacking that you guys are going to experience, and that they haven't experienced yet, but they will experience it if they get too far. So I, keep ignoring the ones that actually could resist and immune, because I turned out really well. Like, people try to Jeffrey Dahmer me, people try to MK Ultra me in many ways. I'm a self-aware MK Ultra. I'm still very sincere about, what I want to do, especially cleaning trash out of the oceans and helping the most vulnerable citizens of our country. But the demons in charge that will never admit to that or admit their actual intentions, only in secret little ways do they ever admit it, right? They never directly admit it. The demons want people sick. They want people dying. They want people suffering. And if these things aren't really addressed, then you guys are shit out of luck. All right? And that's just that.